Welcome to Hebrew Words in Scripture. This will be lesson 46. We've looked at the word evil and the word wicked. We find a connection between the word wicked and witch. So let's explore today what the Old Testament Hebrew tells us about the word witch. Here we see the connection again between wicked. It's Old Anglo-Saxon meaning Wicca, means a witch. And here is the most generic picture of a witch I could find. Notice there's no warts or bats or cats, just a broom. Just a poor woman who's cooking something over a fire. The origins of this word are very convoluted because we have thousands of years of cultures and languages that use various words to describe this particular type of person. To even confuse things more, in the early 1900s, there was a Wiccan movement in the Americas and around the world to develop a witch type religion or faith, as you will. So our best origin is King James Bible in 1611, which is 400 years ago. And so we can take from that the possibility that the witch had something to do with the source of its words. The Scottish source, W-I-C-A, Wicca, means a wise one. The Old English Wicca, W-I-C-C-A, means clever or knowing. And from that we get the significance, the meaning of wizard and sorcerer. And so the takeaway here is that a witch is someone with knowing or knowledge or wisdom. We don't know whether that is acquired through experimentation or whether it is acquired through a connection with someone of wisdom, something of wisdom. Just for your reference, found many words that were connected or appeared in the same verses that were related to this magic or witchcraft. The familiar spirit 178, divination 7081, enchanter 5172, someone who hisses and whispers, a prognosticator, that's the future, telling the future. To practice divination, that is, again, telling the future. The witch, witchcraft, which is not synonymous, the Hebrew word is not the same as witch. Wizard, 3049, one who has a familiar spirit. That goes back up to our familiar spirit. Notice also it's a knowing one. In other words, we have knowledge and wisdom involved. The word sorcery does not appear in the Old Testament, only in New Testament, only in its English letters would be M-A-G-E-O-O, magu, or magic. We see a charmer is someone in league or the joining. So we see the idea of connection. Webster's dictionary also gives us the definition for wizard. It is a viskir, someone clever, knowing, but it's understood as wise plus ard or wizard or wizard. Here in Exodus 22:18, we see that thou shalt not suffer a witch to live. Here we see the Hebrew word for witch, which is kasaf, kaf, shin, final pay. And it means to practice witchcraft or sorcery. sorcerer or sorceress, primitive root, to whisper. There's the idea of speaking or sounds. To whisper a spell, that is to enchant. There's more talking, more speaking. To practice magic, and a sorcerer. We see all those words again. Here we see in Leviticus 20:27, a man also or woman that hath a familiar spirit, or that is a wizard, shall surely be put to death. We see the idea of the familiar spirit and the wizard are connected in this verse. And going on to Isaiah 8:19, we see that, and when they shall say unto you, seek unto them that have familiar spirits, and unto wizards that peep and mutter, should not a people seek unto their God for the living to the dead? So we see again familiar spirits and peeping and muttering, and those are sounds that people make when they are casting a spell or making an enchantment. This word H178, familiar spirits, is translated as Aleph Vav Bet, and it would be pronounced as Aub, and it means a water skin bottle or a necromancer. There's someone who speaks to the dead, one who evokes the dead, a ghost, a spirit of a dead one, the practice of necromancy, one that has a familiar spirit. Notice the origin is H1, which is our word Ab, meaning father, but the idea here is that apparently through the idea of prattling of a father's name, so it's a vocalization of gibberish or incantations that is meant here. We see the word for peep is sadi, pay, final pay, which would be tzafaf, and it means to chirp or to peep like birds or the chirping of ghosts. It's a primitive root meaning to coo or to chirp as a bird, to chatter or peep or whisper. And we see our word for mutter turns into haga, hey, gimel, hey. We see the definition is to moan or growl, utter, to muse, mutter, interestingly enough, to meditate, to devise, to plot, to speak, to utter, to mutter. And its primitive root comes from to murmur, either in pleasure or anger, by implication to ponder, to imagine, meditate, mourn, mutter, roar, speak, talk, and utter. And so the evidence here in the Hebrew words shows us that we are looking here at a bad witch, the one that with a familiar spirit is communicating with the spirit world in utterances and mutterings, possibly not understood by human ears, and that this indeed is a bad person. They're communicating with spirits that God does not want them to communicate with, and so he has given the instructions that they are to be put to death.